which is, what do you think about? Because we really still need to reform those.
I know, right? We've said that for months now. All right.
This one
What
came from you.
it did. We talked about a little bit in the Patreon last week. And I was like, we should make that a thing. What do you guys think about tax returns as savings accounts?
It's a great idea. It's a great idea.
So you're
Yeah.
for it. You think
Oh,
it's
I'm totally for it. But I say this as someone who's broke and whose tax return is gone in like a week. So
right, but that's how you stay broke.
I know.
I can't infer how much you might get back, but it dawned on me one year where, because there's a transition, right, from teenager to married life or whatever, or better jobs, where you go from just barely scraping by on taxes and doing the one pager easy file crap to having to file. And for a couple of years, I tried to tweak my taxes to where I didn't have to pay taxes, because that was beat into me. It's like, oh, the worst thing that you could ever do is pay taxes. It's not. Um, but I always
There are
tweak them.
worse things.
There are way worse things. And so I got to the point where I tweaked them and tweeted. I was working professionally as a paramedic, and finally found like a specialist that could file the taxes for paramedics and know how to claim all the deductions and everything. Because as far as taxes goes, a very niche industry. And I think that year I got back like $8,000. I went from paying stuff and getting like $400 back maybe at H&R Block or something, to like this specialty person got me 8,000. My wife like joking around, oh my god, we're going to Disney World. And then they also could back file for 2 more years, so we end up getting another 2,000 on top of that. And we're like, oh my god. And then I'm telling you, dude, we're walking through the parking lot going, oh my god, this is amazing. And I went, that's money out of my pocket. I mean, I'm borrowing money this year from her dad to help pay some bills, and the government's holding on to $8,000 that I could have used to pay bills.
Well, and the worst part is the government knows how much they owe us, and yet they have all these convoluted forms that we have to do and to fill out, because they're not going to turn around and be like, oh, we owe you more money. No, they're just going to be like, we're going to keep your money because you didn't ask for it back.
Yep. And the IRS is a monopoly, because there aren't any other companies that control your money like that. So therefore, it's a monopoly. Yeah. That's my personal opinion on that. I just wanted to get that out there.
So random kids throwing in anything beyond minimum necessary for government cost is theft. Now, here's why I hate the idea. Actually, Joe, I didn't get your answer. What's your answer?
You.
Too bad. It's time for me and SongHeart to talk. No, I'm sorry. That was just funny. Go ahead. What's your answer, Joe?
So anything. Well, ideally, your best tax return is net zero. That's what you should aim for, realistically. And so, if you got to bump up your, like, if you fill out your W-2s normally, you're not going to be at net zero. You're probably going to get a couple thousand back, depending on how many kids you have. And so, I actually bump up my number a little bit. I don't try to go for zero per se, even though I probably should, because I really don't want to owe anything. But I do try to minimize it to a certain degree, and so I've bumped up my allowances on my W-2 a bit more than what the form itself recommends. That way, they take out fewer taxes throughout the year. But yeah, even still, I usually get a couple thousand back when we do our taxes. But yeah. I've got some friends that they are very much determined to aim for net zero, period. And even if they have to owe a couple of thousand, they would rather do that than let the government sit on their money.
That's dumb. I'm just gonna be the cranky dad. That's hurt. Okay, so I agree with net zero, right? So not the old email system, but actually, where you putting that money?
Well, so there's things you can do even if you run into owing 1,000. You can turn around and do things to earn more tax breaks to bring it to net zero. Like my in-laws, a couple of years they've run into where they've owed a couple of thousand afterwards, and they have gone out of their way to find ways to get additional tax breaks, like sticking money in like an IRA, I think gets you some tax breaks and things like that, so that it reduces your taxable income and therefore reduces how much you owe at the when it comes tax time. So there are some things even after the year is over, when you start working on your taxes, that you can do to prevent yourself from owing money to the government. I don't know all those different loopholes, but there are ways.
But so I can get it, and Devo is right there with you a little bit. Net zero, of course. Devo popped in and said, "No, I made the joke about it's a defunct internet service." Here's you said it. The problem is you don't know. Mm-hmm. So you don't know what money you're leaving on the table. And I don't know about every other country, but I know many other countries, like you said, they know exactly what you owe. They send you a bill for it. You take care of it. Or it's pulled out exactly throughout the year or whatever. I mean, it's very straightforward, very transparent, easy. It's a massive problem here in the U.S. But at the end of the day, because I don't want to get on the government's radar for any reason that I don't have to, I don't want to owe them anything. I'd rather think I'm leaving money on the table and they're stealing it from me, because I can go about my day being happy with that thought than to go, I owe them a couple thousand and now I got to make payments, and now I'm on their radar because they want their money and they will get their money 100%.
Yeah. And how many years are you supposed to keep your documents for? Isn't it like 5 years? 7? Okay. Mm-hmm. So yeah.
So I mean, way too many loopholes, problems, all that stuff. I get it, especially if you're the kind of person like I absolutely was, that extra 6,000 was not necessarily going to go pay for bills. I mean, it would have paid some for sure, but I'd have done stupid stuff with it. So when you get it back,
roughly an extra 500 a month. You could have definitely used that when you think of it that way.
Oh, I didn't say I couldn't use it. I just would have used it for dumb stuff, not just bills. So I'm not riding my high horse, is all I'm saying.
But so do you think you would have used it for more dumb stuff if you had gotten it along the way than if you got in than getting it in the one lump sum?
So I know this is not Daddy Tell Me a Story. I'm going to tell you a story anyway. Sure. When my wife, we call it our single years. It's not when we were singles, but before we had kids. So we were just together without kids. In those years,
the honeymoon phase.
I mean, we're still I mean, I don't know. I had a joke and I lost it. So we would do dumb things. We were bad with her money. We weren't managing her money well, and we're making dumb decisions. And it was a cycle of, we got to tighten down, we got to be smart, we got to be right, without true management of the money. And so you just felt tight and repressed. And then you'd always explode out of it and do something stupid with money. Then you regret it. It's that guilt cycle, right? So, random kid says, honeymoon face, more like moonshine face, right, Charles? So we're doing this guilt cycle. Number. So you want to ask what dumb stuff I did? We'd go to Walmart at midnight. Back in those days, you'd go to Walmart at midnight and it'd be open.
That was the time.
Right. And that was the time. Less people there. We had the way our work schedules worked, that we'd have days where we didn't have to go to work. Mine was 24 on, 48 off. Hers was Monday through Friday. So it would always, or she get off work at 11 on like a Friday. We go to Walmart on midnight or something like that, whatever. And so we'd walk in just to kind of go entertain ourselves and do something other than watching TV. And Devo, I know I'm out of order. This is my show, man. Stop it. The short version is we walked into Walmart and said, okay, let's make a deal. You find something up to $100 and I'll buy something up to $100 and we'll be even. We did not have $200+ in our account. We were pulling from a savings or from a or from bills or from a credit card, but we were in that guilt release cycle, and that was what we do to kind of entertain ourselves. So yes, Joe, I think I would have done some really dumb things. I definitely got better as we got older and did more with our lives, and now I absolutely try to shoot for zero. Honestly, the government makes it hard. It makes it really hard. I have 4 kids. I'm only claiming 3 this year because my oldest is 19 and out of school and all that.
And you don't want to claim him anymore.
I
hear you.
I mean, you've heard some of the stories. You know, you've met him. So yeah, but it is difficult. But what we have done, so I will throw that out to everybody. Coming back to the question, what we have done is, no, when I say it's difficult with we don't even own a house anymore. But we have the kids, we have some other write-offs. I have my own business, so we do write-offs that way. We still get multiple thousands of dollars back every year. And well, we'll see this year. I made a lot of good money this past year, so we'll see. But the whole point is, we said, okay, that money has already been quote finger spent, right? It came out of the paycheck through the year. We didn't have it for bills. We made it through the year. So we go ahead and allocate that money in envelopes throughout the year for stuff we want to do. Kids, summer camps. We patron the arts. So we have memberships at the High Art Museum in Atlanta, not Piedmont Park, the gardens, the botanical gardens and different stuff like that. Maybe a vacation. So we take that free money, right? That cash that was mine to begin with. And we go ahead and say, well, since we're already paying our bills on everything else, we try to then do the extra fun stuff. So there's something there.
I mean, the government would just spend it on a grant for some nonsensical research study. Like, they did some hypothetical.
This is not bad dad joke time, by the way. I feel like setup is coming.
This
Are you
isn't.
sure? I got a few.
The government has spent stuff on like hypothetical studies. If like Thanos actually had snapped half the population, what would the impact be on the infrastructure of the United States? Like they've spent stuff on dumb studies like that have no bearing on the government. Like why? Just why?